Well, Josh.
Nat. We're back. Again.
Back again. Josh, yesterday was fun.
It was fun.
I guess, I'll tell the story, I guess.
Yeah, explain. It was your child.
Well, basically, it was snowing, like, quite a bit yesterday. And I was like, dang, we got class till, like, 2:45. I showed up. Josh didn't. And I get crap for not showing up. I showed up.
That's true. In my defense, it was Monday class, and we don't normally have Monday class.
You don't have a defense. You already knew the day before we had class.
No, I literally woke up that morning. I was like, yeah, we have class today. And then I just sat there and watched YouTube, like, and zoned out. And then I just get a call from you, like, why aren't you in class?
Nah, yeah. Anyway, but it was snowing a lot. And I was like, okay, if it's 3 o'clock and it's still snowing, we gotta film a Christmas promo.
It's true.
And so we did, and it was awesome. I got Duncan to record it. I got Haley and Javik and Titus showed up, so shout out to them. But it was awesome. Like, you know, it was just basically just a hit the record. Okay, we're gonna throw snowballs at each other. Okay, now we're gonna do snow angels, and then you know we're just gonna dogpile one another. But it was just like it kind of like fell perfectly. Like there was one part, even like I was like, oh, like when we say goodbye, I was like, oh crap, I forgot to get Josh to film like the beginning part of the video, like when we're in my room.
Mm-hmm.
Because we did the snowball fight stuff first, because I didn't know when the snow was going to stop, and it was going to be like, it was late in the afternoon. We didn't know like how dark it was going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of just worked out very well. Took me maybe about an hour to edit it all together. So I think it was good.
Yeah, you know what? I got really excited about it when you showed me the final thing because for the amount of like effort we put in, it actually turned out really well. Like, I don't know, it's kind of got me excited. I feel like if we spent like, I don't know, just took a Saturday and just like spent a lot more time, I feel like we could make like a little short film. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about this since like Thanksgiving break. I said I want to film a video, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's snowing, and then we do something like this, and it'll be fun. And it's regarding the podcast, and we just get whoever just to show up and do it, and it actually turned out better. And in some way, I thought I wasn't so sure like about some of the shots, but then when I watched it, I was like, okay, no, this works. This works. Put the song in, yep, it works, and then just cut it. So it's just, I don't know. I think we make the media's job look easy, right, Josh?
I was gonna say, yeah. We got some friends that do media and video editing, you know, pretty much full time, and
you see some of their work, and you're like, how much time did they put into it compared to us?
Because Nat spent an hour, and I'm not gonna lie, it was more interesting than a certain video from a certain summer ministry camp. Yeah.
You just said that off the cuff. I didn't plan to say that. But anyway, Josh, we got about a week before break, and it seems like there's so many things going on. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
Odd flex, but you know, like weird flex. But I had like 5 parties this week. I mean, in the span of a week.
Yeah.
And yesterday, we had I had 2 to go to. I got 1 this Friday, and next week. Oh, and we got to go to one tomorrow, and they're kind of all required. You know, we're in a Bible college, but it's just kind of like it's kind of a hectic week on top of the assignments. But I want to ask you, Josh, do you think Christmas parties are overrated? Because I was just talking to someone yesterday, and they said, you know what, I think they're overrated. But I'm like, you know what, they're from Canada, they're not fun.
Yeah. I don't know, cause I like Christmas, and not just like the season, and like obviously, you know, birth of Christ and the fact that we celebrate that, but the traditions as well, like, because it seems like we're an increasingly impersonal culture, and I think the holidays are a good time just for people to get together and like with the people that they love and like actually talk to each other and play some games and stuff that they normally wouldn't do. So I will say yes, I love Christmas parties, and I don't know, even though they're kind of cheesy and like, you know, the gift exchange that it's like all these items for like $5, so it's like they're not like, you know, it's not going to change your life, but it's just getting a thoughtful gift for someone Yeah, I like that whole idea. But having like 5 Christmas parties because you have 5 different like groups that you're a part of and all that stuff, like, and trying to do finals, like, yeah, it kind of like it takes the joy out of it a little bit. But you kind of just have to like resign yourself to be there and not complain, and then you can have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the type of person as I got older, you kind of outgrow in a sense of like, oh boy, it's Christmas kind of thing. But like, I kind of come with like not much of an expectation. Like, okay, like, cause I've been to different types of parties, Christmas parties in my life. Like, I remember as a kid we have one where it's like two people need to. I'm not sure if I've seen this here, but in Australia I've seen it where like I forgot what it's called. It's been so many years, but like two people have to pull this thing from one opposite end, and it'll break in half, and then the half of it will go to one of the people, and then inside will be like a little small gift in it, and you get to keep it. I forgot what it's called, but like it makes like a pop sound or something like that.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That was a big thing I remember growing up, and I tell you one thing that is new in the past couple of years. Workplace parties, like office Christmas parties. That to me seems more because it's like I associate work and fun, like, yeah, it kind of bleeds together, but at the same time it's like, man, I'm at a workplace, it's kind of like, oh, it's kind of weird, and then I love everyone, but it's just like also kind of like, yeah, this is kind of off because like at the same time it's like, you're my boss, and it's like, okay, cool. We get to, I mean, it's personal. We get to see a more, a different side of people in some aspects, but it's something that I'm gonna have to get used to as I get older.
Yeah, it's true. I remember first year of college, we had like a ministry mixer is what they called it. You had to go and see what the different ministries were so that you could pick your top 3 ministries that you would like to be involved with, and they'll sign you up for one of them. And I just remember like hearing the name of that ministry mixer, and I was like, that is so lame. Like, why are we? I was like, that's how you can tell like we're no longer kids, like we're adults now, is because we're required to attend things that are called a mixer. Like, what the heck is that? Like, just say, I don't know, like, or even like they try to make it like they've said like ministry fair. That's not any better. Like a job fair, that's no better. Like, it's the fact that they're trying to make it sound fun when everyone knows, like, nah.
No, for real. Even like, I think as well as I get older, it's kind of like, I do love the Christmas songs, but and I'm not gonna make this like a longer thing than it needs to be, because I think Josh and I agree on this. It's like, you don't want to oversaturate and dilute a holiday. You should listen to Christmas music after Thanksgiving, after November. If you're listening to it throughout the whole year, you're listening to it from the month of November into January. It's like, that's like, what? November, December, January. It's like 3 months.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That is a long time, man.
Yeah, I will say, though, I do like...
1/4 of a year.
Yeah, no, I do love Christmas, though. Like, my family, Christmas is huge. It's just, like, within a certain time frame. But, like, I remember, like, as a kid, I was always the kid that, like, my parents would tuck me into bed on Christmas Eve, and I just, like, couldn't sleep. Like, yeah. like 3 or 4 years in a row when I was little, I would just get so excited about Christmas that I, like, would just, like, stay up in my room and, like, pace around my room. Like, I remember, like, trying to sleep and just giving up and just, like, playing in my room, like, all night long.
Yeah. And I think they're not... well, I was just, like, trying to get at about, like, the whole, like, not diluting is because as I get older, it's like I'm hearing the same songs and I'm kind of like, man, they haven't really... There's been no real, like, classy, like, Christmas songs that's been released in the past, like, 10 years that I'm like... Or maybe even 5 years where I'm like, yeah, I can see myself listening to this next Christmas and all that. And not even really for movies, really. I mean, I did find a movie the other day, because this past weekend we're going up to New York City to do open air evangelism, which we'll get into in a moment. But, like, I found a movie that was actually kind of wholesome.
Yeah?
It's called 8-Bit Christmas, and it came out a few years ago. And it was what made it kind of good was because it captured, like, this nostalgia, because there's a dad telling his daughter about, like, how he got the Nintendo Entertainment System. back in the 80s, and they have these like flashbacks.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, we gotta watch it because it was pretty wholesome, and it was kind of like it shows like the kind of dysfunctions of a family and the problems of being a kid. The dad from Diary of a Wimpy Kid was the father.
No.
As well in it, so it was kind of like fun to kind of like multiple generations can enjoy the movie, and I think that's what makes a Christmas movie good, because like you can watch like a movie and you're like, yes, I remember being like that as a kid. Oh yes, that's me right now.
Okay, that leads me to a question that I've been thinking about. So it wasn't that long ago that like every couple years we would get a new Christmas movie that kind of got solidified as like a new Christmas classic, right? Like Home Alone, all that stuff.
Elf.
Yeah, like in the early 2000s, we were still getting classic Christmas movies that now it's like people are like, oh, that's my favorite. We have to watch that every year now. Do you think, Nat, that we will ever get another classic Christmas movie, or is just the classic Christmas movie just dead?
Eventually, I do see myself watching that movie again, the 8-Bit Christmas again, because I think it did kind of like touch into me as a kid. Like I didn't grow up in the 80s, but I do remember as a kid being like, I really want this for Christmas, you know. I want an Xbox or whatever it is. Like there's still something like relatable generationally. So I think that movie still holds up. But actually, to get to the Christmas part, even the music's like that. And I think they're kind of intertwined in the same way, in the sense that, like, for example, why do we listen to the same Christmas movies? Christmas songs from like artists from like not even in our time, like what was it, 80 years ago or like 50 years ago. And funny enough, like I watched a video a couple of years ago where they talk about that, and the video was titled like why like All I Want for Christmas for You is like a classic, because that was like made in the 90s,
right?
But all these like classic Christmas songs were made in like the 60s.
Right.
So it's like a 30-year gap. But the reason they said in the video, they broke down the music, and they said the reason why All I Want for Christmas, like when you hear it, it just fits, you know, is because they kind of use the same like jingle and the same kind of like tempo and everything
some bells in there
from like that Christmas album from like the 60s, and it kind of like formed its own like genre of music. So if you listen to like new Christmas songs or whatever, like I don't know, Justin Bieber or Ariana Grande does a song, it's more of this like contemporary pop, but it's a hit classic.
You know what? That's you make a really good point, because I was thinking about like even when they did the new animated Grinch movie with Benedict Cumberbatch, which that's probably been, I don't know, close to 5 years ago now. That was like the soundtrack for that was all like Christmas but hip hop, right? And that's a lot of like Christmas albums now is like, oh, it's Christmas with a jazz twist or Christmas with a pop twist or like Christmas. So you think like for it to be classic Christmas music, they gotta quit trying to like be relevant and just like let it be Christmas music.
Exactly, because it's really its own genre.
It is its own thing.
And you know, call back to last episode, like no Taylor Swift, none of these artists.
Yeah,
when they make their own Christmas album, it doesn't stand the test of time. In fact, if anything, it seems more like they just make the album just because it sells, because it's Christmas, than like actually spending time to like replicate like the original like sounds that were made.
Right.
Because it took. I don't know, I gotta show you that video, Josh. I think you'll like it because it actually breaks it down pretty well and actually explains why. It doesn't mean to say All I Want for Christmas is the best Christmas song ever, but to say that they actually sought to replicate it.
What do you think is the best Christmas song of all time?
I don't know. I there's ones that I like, but I don't like. Oh, this is my favorite.
Wait, should we try to like
for example, we played Marshmallow Wood. I love that song right now, but like I like Sleigh Ride. I like I don't know.
Should we? Okay, let's try to like get one in mind, and we'll go like 3, 2, 1, and then we'll say, and we'll see if we have.
I just told you what I thought.
Oh.
So I don't know. I don't have a favorite.
Do you think Marshmallow World is your favorite?
No. I say right now I played that one because it made sense for the video because it was snowing and that song is about snow. I like Sleigh Ride. That one's good.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Jingle Bells, classic Jingle Bells.
Jingle Bell Rock, rocking around the Christmas trees.
What about Baby It's Cold Outside?
Alright.
I like that one, and I liked it before everyone started trying to cancel it. You know what's kind of underrated?
Blue Christmas.
Blue Christmas.
Even though it was kind of sad, but it's kind of I like it.
Yeah.
Elvis.
It's good.
But yeah, so how are you gonna have to make classic Christmas movies again or songs? Is you're gonna have to replicate that. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. You can't just have that whole contemporary love. Like, for example, what's that movie that came out? Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds made a movie. It was like a musical Christmas movie. See, I forgot about it. I only watched it one time. It came out 2 years ago.
I didn't even know
but
that
they
existed.
made it into a musical and they did the songs, but the songs are very contemporary. You know, it's like, you know, the style of it is like, I don't remember the songs. None of the songs stick out to me. They're not classy. Like, they're not catchy at all.
No, that is really true though, because like you think about the Elf movie, and like the soundtrack for Elf is very much that like classic Christmas style. You know?
And it kind of had like cheesy elements, like, oh, if the whole New York crowd sings Santa Claus is coming to town, then like his sleigh is gonna fly up again. But it's like, you know, you gotta go back to basics. Focus on, can this movie appeal to everyone of all ages?
Yeah.
And the music plays a factor in that too. But also the values as well. And not to beat a dead horse, but that's the other thing is like, I think people, obviously, as they should, because it's about the birth of Christ, people associate Christmas with classic traditional values and family. And, you know, we're living in a society where people don't speak to their families anymore because, you know, of whatever reason. So I think maybe that's part of the reason the classic Christmas movie is dying as well, is because how do you create a movie that brings to your heart that sense of Jove, of jolly, right? When you don't have a family that you talk to, right? And like in society, like I think there's less and less people that can relate to even family dinner. Like people can't really relate to that. They can't relate to like a peaceful Christmas with ones they love. And what I liked about that 8-Bit Christmas movie was, you know, at first you can see it and be like, oh, it's a family like there's like family dysfunctionality, but like it's not like, oh, it's like Home Alone, the parents are like that, because not to spoil it, but in the ending you can see how family is important, you know. And that kind of like came by in like the last like 20 minutes or half an hour of the movie that you didn't necessarily see coming, because like the movie's about the kid, and you know, what's relatable is like you get the childish mischief, but you also got something like he stands up to the bully, you know, and it's just like kind of like, oh, my alarm, sorry, but like it's just kind of like cool to see that, and it's just like it's not making itself seem super important more than it is. It stuck to a simple plot. It didn't have some political message, you know, so it's like very, you know, relatable, and it's like that's what you gotta do. You know?
Yeah, and I think you also have to find your niche. Like you got to find what is your thing that's going to make this like Home Alone, like it takes place at Christmas and it is a Christmas movie, but like the plot of the movie like theoretically could have taken place during the summer. Like it's just a kid that gets left home by himself. You know, like I think you have to find and write a story that would work even if it wasn't a Christmas movie, but then like add that Christmas, like layer that Christmas element throughout, you know?
Exactly. So Josh, I just want to transition and talk about...
You're transitioning?
Transition to talk about it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Off the cuff, I got a big announcement, but OAE this weekend.
Open air evangelism.
You should have showed up, Josh. I'm a little disappointed. We did a live off-the-cuff New York City episode, Josh. That's the truth.
Well,
no,
listen, it doesn't count. I wasn't there, all right?
No, in fact, we referenced in the video, like, Josh isn't here, boo, or whatever. No.
Yeah, my business partner, Nat, moved off to the big city without me.
I actually said that in the video. I said, I sold out, guys. I'm now going to the big city. I'm signing a contract with Spotify.
No.
Josh, you know, Mr. Uncompromised King, you know, look where he is now. No. But, No. We just did a short video, okay, off the cuff, live in New York City, and I'm like, where's Josh? But we didn't talk about it.
But listen, I stayed here at the Biblical Counseling Conference, and that was amazing. We can talk. Well, I'll let you talk your thing.
Yeah. I can watch the recording anyway, Josh.
It's true.
No, but open air evangelism is fun, and I'm glad everyone had fun. It was a blast. But it's fun not because it's like, oh, we're in New York City, but it's because it's like, one, you go in there for like, from a practical point of view, you're like, one, we have to pay for the trip ourselves, but like you fork over $100, but you're staying at like, you know, it's back to basic. You're staying at a church, you know.
Yep.
But you get this camaraderie with the people, and you know, you're going out to the streets the whole day. You do see stuff, you know. Like we gotta go to Staten Island Ferry, we gotta share the gospel. We got to go see Rockefeller Center tree, which is a lot clearer and a lot quicker this time in and out compared to last year. Last year was terrible, but this year was like a lot. It was a lot easier to get there. But like just like throughout the trip, it's like, you know, it's just like you see the burden and the need to like share like why you believe in like Jesus Christ, like, and just like going over that. It's like, you know, some people it's like their first time doing that on that trip, and some people have done that like just earlier, or some people like me have been doing it for a couple of years now. It's just kind of like, it's always you know you got this camaraderie to that, like you're there for each other, you know, you're there to encourage each other, you know, and you just talk to that person. You just like have this, once you start, you just don't stop, because it's kind of like, okay, fine, even this person says no to me, you know what, God sent me to speak to that person, and they didn't reject me, they ultimately rejected God. And it's just like, you know, I mean, I for example, I had like, I never had like scary moments, but like, you know, mild threats, yes. Like when I was in the ferry, there was a guy, I was like sat next to a guy, like 1 seat apart, but like I just sat, I just like, hey, you know, it's cold, and just like trying to have a conversation. He clearly didn't want to talk. He goes, you know, you better move over, and I'm like, yeah, I'm moving over. He's like, yeah, you better move over, and he's like giving me like a dead serious look, and I'm like, you know what? I'll see you later. Have a great day. God bless you. You know, and it's like, you just talk to someone else, you know, and it's just amazing to see, like, and I was just saying this on a trip, I was like, you know, I'm a conservative kind of guy, you are too, and it's just like, we kind of like have disdain for anything bigger than like 20,000 people, you know, like in a sense, like the cities, but it's kind of like, that's where we need to go, because, you know, you look at the New Testament and you look at the Apostle Paul, where did they go to? You know,
the big cities,
they went to Antioch, they were in Rome, they went to the island of Crete. You know, it's just kind of like, these are not small places. These are places that, even though they may have different names today, you know historically that these were big cities. You know, whatever they were for trade or economy or whatever it is. It's just like, if you reach the city, if you reach New York City, you kind of got the whole world in your hands, because you have everyone for all walks of life from all across the world.
Yeah, and not to get too political, but just to use this as an example, if you don't believe, like, thinking in terms of evangelism, right? If you want a map of how you can reach the entire country, just look at the election results, right? And you see, pretty much, like, any blue state was won over by the big city, right? And so, like, if you look at New York, if you want to reach the entire state of New York, like, New York City is the dissenting voice, and it drives so much of culture. So if you can go there, and if you can get people to listen and accept the gospel there, you know, that's going to be the results are going to be
in your own country
huge.
You get your own country. You succeed in your city or whatever, or capital. You get that whole country's influence, but you go to the Big Apple and you make it, and you just have it. Just, I'm not even talking about ministry wise. I'm just talking about business wise or whatever. Like, if you're in New York City, you basically got the whole world in your hands. That is like special, and just being able to just go there and have that opportunity, it's like, I do not believe for 1 second that was ever a waste of our time to go down there. We may not have like the money to buy some billboard ad or anything, but like, it's a reminder throughout the whole time, like, God is more powerful than that.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, so right now, because we're talking like in general about OAE, but like what makes OAE real is God and people coming to know him. So tell me, was there someone you got like to see accept the gospel while you were there?
So we had 170 gospel conversations as a total. We had 7 salvations as a total. For me, my personal experience, obviously I can't say I know that person's heart for sure, but for my giving them the gospel and their agreement and what they affirm, I saw 3 people come to know Jesus.
That's awesome.
That. And it's amazing, you know, because it's kind of like, you know, sometimes you're like, this person looks like they're not friendly, or I'm not interested, but when I do force myself to talk to that person, amazing conversations. And I can tell you, Josh, honestly, from my experience, some of the best conversations I've ever had with people weren't even necessarily like from OAE, weren't even from, like, they didn't even necessarily get saved. They may say, yeah, I'll think about it, or whatever, but like they ask questions and they like want to know more. Those are some of the best conversations I've ever had, you know?
Yeah.
And like, to me, it's like more, it's cool to see that more than like, because I come across people who are actually Christian, and I talk to them, and it turns out they have a testimony and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I just encourage them to go to church and, give out the gospel tracts too. But like that, to me, like people who are like just kind of like, you know what, I gotta think about that, what you just said, and you can see in their eyes and their expression like how the Holy Spirit is convicting them. And I don't necessarily blame them. I'm not like, I encourage them, like, you can make that decision right now. Like, you don't know when your time is up, you don't know what happens tomorrow, but you have the decision today. And they recognize that. And God bless them, and I pray for them that I pray with them that they just like God will just continue just to work in their lives. The seeds planted, like the scales just removed from their eyes. So like that's important. It's like the important part is not to see like that person necessarily get saved. It's like because you're just part of like God just sent you out there. He's doing the work at it. You're a small piece of the puzzle in a sense. Yeah. Even less significant than that. There's a saying like a person can hear the gospel 20 times, and the first person who gave the gospel to that person thought they were absolutely useless. They were bad in their presentation because they didn't come to Christ. Right. But then the 20th person gives the gospel and they get saved, and they think, oh yes, I did it. I had everything to do with it. It's like no, it's like it's just kind of like it's a process. Yeah, and that's one thing that I've like kind of picked up on just from like watching you like share the gospel and like just other conversations we've had. One thing I think is like really cool is like on multiple occasions now I've like seen you like witness to someone, and like you'll end the conversation and just be like, yeah, anyway, so just think about it or whatever, or like you'll say something like that, and you're very content with just leaving the conversation wherever they wanted to leave the conversation. Like I know for whatever reason, whenever I share the gospel with someone, like I always feel like I'm pushing the envelope too much. Like I'm always trying to like force the conversation on longer, and then it always ends like super awkward. But it seems like you're really good at being like, even if you don't get a chance to share the full gospel with them, like whatever they wanted to hear, you give that to them. You just give them something to chew on, and then you're content with like, yeah, that person didn't get saved. Like I don't know if I'll ever see them again, but like, I did what I could for them. Like, and I really admire that. I think that's something that I need to try to get better at, is like not like, I don't know, just being content with like, that was the conversation that needed to happen for today. Yeah, and it's like I tell myself like it's not Nat's responsibility to see them come to Christ. It's a decision. It's between them and God. I know God wants that person to be saved more than I want that person to be saved, and I know God wants that person to be saved more than they can even think about getting saved. So it's like, I that's why I never necessarily feel like completely useless in that process. Like, well, that person appeared in front of me. I'm here to do God's work the best that I can. Right. Whether, even if I did a poor presentation, it's better that they hear it and at least they understand this is what a Christian believes, and they walk away from it instead of some misconception of what we are as people. Just maintain a good testimony and all that. Because in a lot of ways, we talked about how we have this growing impersonal culture. To some people, just for someone to go up to them and say, you know what, I care enough about you. I care about you, where you're going to go. Whether you believe in heaven or not, I care about you. And it's just like, that touches people's hearts. And it's like someone I just met today shows this genuine care for me that I may not have experienced for years. Yeah. That's the truth for a lot of people. Yeah. So it's just like, you just got to keep pressing forward. Like, it can be, we're always worried about like the worst case scenario. Right. But God's got your back. He's protecting you. I talked to someone who I was trying to give them a tract, and the tract said something like the important decision to make or something like that, and I was like, I was just trying to talk to a guy and said, it's the most important decision you can make today, kind of like a sales pitch. And he's like, what is this? And he already suspects it's gonna do with Christianity, right. Religion. He goes, he kind of looks and he's like, I knew what it is. I'm not into religion. And I said, well, neither am I. I believe in a relationship with God, Right. But he kind of just cut me short. He said, listen, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I was in the Middle East for 6 years, and I've seen people do all kinds of things in the name of God. So I don't want to hear it. And even though I'm not a veteran of war, I tried to appeal to him. I said, listen, I was in the military too. I still believe in God. But he kind of just brushed that off and walked away. Yeah. So. Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, that's really hard, because you have, for people that have never been like educated, like when he said like people in the Middle East, I've seen them do stuff in the name of God, I assume he's talking about Islam, right? Which is not what we're talking about. But even like in the past, people who claim to know
God who claim to be Christians have done things. Like a lot of Jews think that Christianity is linked to Nazism because Hitler claimed to be a Christian, right? Like, obviously we know he was not. He was just using, I mean, he rewrote the Bible. Like, him and his people, like, created their own, they took stuff out, they added stuff in, and claimed to be true Christianity. And so that is something to bear in mind, like, depending on who you're talking to. Like, you have to, like, figure out, like, what their preconceived biases are, like, as you're talking to them. Because there are going to be some of those hurdles to overcome. Like, the enemy's really crafty in, like, getting people to think that Christianity is something that it's not.
Yeah. But on the, just a little fun part just to mention. I mean, kind of sad, actually. This is a little silly, but, like, I've been in New York City about 4 times now. 3 of them had to do with OAU. One of them was a trip with my family. But because of how fast we were able to get to the Rockefeller Center, like, I got to the ice skating rink and got a nice picture and all. I come back and I was like, we haven't had dinner yet, but I see Trump Tower right there across the road. I want to go.
There it
4
is.
times I've been there, never been able to go.
Trump Tower.
And I'm just like, no, I can't be that person where it's like everyone's gonna wait for me. And it turns out I had plenty of time, and other people actually went inside, and I was like, bro.
No.
I was like, bro.
Dang.
The next time I'm just gonna be like, nope, I'm just gonna go straight in.
Do they have, like, can anyone just walk in the lobby and just look around?
Yeah, because it's like there's businesses there, but like there's like clothing stores and all kind of stuff.
Oh, it's like a mall in the lobby?
Kind of, in a sense, yeah.
Is it like, there's like residential floors as well, right?
Yes, there are. Yeah. So I don't know, it's just kind of...
I wonder who lives on the top floor now. Do you think it's like someone in Trump's family? Cause
his kids kind of took over the business. Yeah.
Okay, because I know that used to be like where he lived.
He
probably still lived there.
I think it's Eric Trump that does it, because Don Jr. does involved in politics himself. So I think it's Eric Trump that does it. Hey, one day it's Barron Trump.
Barron Trump, dude, what a guy.
Hey, there's a story the other day where, because they have people find videos of Barron as a kid in front of like
the suitcase video.
And all that, but then like, do you hear how it's like, they haven't heard his voice in years, and then there's like a video where he's like, he was just speaking like normal, like, yeah, it was a pleasure to meet you, and I was like, dang, he kind of sounds like his dad. Well,
and people are also like, people were like so shocked because he just carried himself like a gentleman, like he was polite. He shook, what was the guy's name? The head of the...
Dana White, right?
Yeah, he like shook his hand, was like, it's good to see you. Like, he just carried himself like a gentleman, and people were like, what?
Whoa.
Like, he's 18 years old and he has respect for his elders? Like, who is this guy?
Yeah. Well, because of, like, who his mom is, and probably because of where she grew up, like, in a small village in Slovenia, and then you got Trump, which is, like, I watched a documentary of Trump years ago where it's, like, his first wife says something like, yeah, like, Trump, like, Donald, he never really, like, I kind of, like, was raising the kids, but he didn't really, like, talk to them until, like, they were able to talk, basically, back. So it was kind of like those, like, dads who were like, yeah, you can play with your toy cars and all that, but, like, I'm here for business. And when he could talk and all that, like, that when he kind of, like, okay, like, this is how it's gonna be. And it's like, you can kind of see that video. It's like when Barron was a kid, he goes, he's got a long way to go. He's a tough, smart guy already, but he's got a long way to go. And he's like, what, 3 years old?
Yeah.
So this is kind of funny.
Bro, what do you think of Kai Trump?
She's a YouTuber right now.
A little bit, but like she gave that speech about Trump at the RNC convention.
It's kind of cool how she kind of made Trump like more personal in the sense that she referred to him as his grandpa. It's like that's what he is.
Yeah, she just calls him grandpa.
It's like that's because she's like, this is who he is to a lot of you guys, but this is who he is to me personally. And it's like, we gotta remember that, like, actually one of Trump's, like, most, like, one of the best things about Trump, even Hillary Clinton said this, actually, was that his children, his family, and it actually, like, so far, as far, like, you compare to other celebrities' kids and all that, like, they're not scandalous at all. Like, they actually carried themselves in a proper way. Well,
and that's part of why I brought Kai Trump up, because I did watch some of her videos, because, like, I don't know, and I just thought it was funny. No, listen, man. Closest thing we have...
No, Josh, she's 17. No.
Is she 17? I don't even know. But no, like Trump's family is just super interesting. Closest thing we have to like a royal family. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Kind of, yeah, you're
like
right.
you look at Barron and everyone kind of treats him like a prince, and then Kai's kind of maybe like a princess. I don't know. But listen, here's the thing.
I think it's a perfect level because it's like no one over like inflates it more important than they need to be like the royal family in England.
Yeah.
Is you're kind of right in a sense, but it's like a perfect thing because like no one likes a monarchy in this country, but it's kind of like in a sense you're right to say that.
Well,
Yeah.
with Kai, it was funny just watching. There was a video of the Trump family went to go. Elon invited them to come watch a rocket launch, and it's just her like, look, that's Elon Musk. Like, hi Elon, it's good to see you again. Like, and it's just like, can you imagine just like being a kid, and just like rubbing shoulders with all these people, and it's like she doesn't like from her perspective that's not even weird, but all of us it's like she just grows up and it's like that's my dad's friend Elon Musk. Like,
No, like yeah, they even years ago I remember seeing like I think it was like Ivanka Trump when she was like they were doing a documentary or something. It's like she was like showing like this is my bedroom when I was a teenager, and it's like in like Manhattan, like in a really nice like floor, and it's like yeah, like the Backstreet Boys signed this poster or whatever. Like oh yeah, this and it's like oh he's like just casual like yeah these are my dad's celebrity friends and I'm this man like what like
yeah,
okay
yeah, that's so weird.
yeah I don't know I, the family is kind of interesting because they're like they are rich and they have achieved the American dream, but they're not like your average kind of like rich people. Like the way Trump is as a billionaire, he's not. He has a different style and way of speaking, which is like very more like anyone can kind of relate to actually.
Yeah, which
It's
is
not
really
like,
funny.
Oh, they're separate. Like they're from a different class kind of thing. But like there's a perfect balance. Like Trump plays golf. Trump has like there's some things you see him do. It's like okay because of where he grew up and all that. That makes sense and like. He, you know, that kind of class and the way he interacts with people. But like, there's so many more like things relatable about him at the same time.
Really, just it's really down to earth, which is funny because I think I don't know he kind of built his political career off of like the opposite, right? Of like coming in and stirring things up and being divisive. But then I think after the assassination attempt, you could see like that's part of why they had Kai Trump on stage talking about him just being grandpa, like. There's a huge thing to like show like what does the Trump family look like behind the scenes, like, and they really are just like ordinary people that are just kind of down to earth and fun to talk to. Like even just watching Trump Jr. with I've watched some interviews that he's done and he just seems like a fun guy. Like he seems like a guy that I would like I don't know, love to go fishing with.
Yeah, and Trump always said that he always related more to the taxi drivers and the construction workers and all that.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm not sure if Trump said this, but someone said this of Trump. Like, he was kind of like those people who are rich, but he kind of wished to see what it was like just to be an ordinary person, you know? And the way we view a celebrity, like, he views, like, average people as a celebrity. Like you know, like...
Yeah.
Like he's kind of like an all like you live your life so different from mine, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's like
I never thought about that.
We view like the rich and all that in a certain way, like they're separate and all different. It's like, like man, it would be so cool to be like them. And then Trump's like, I'm working at McDonald's. I'm driving this garbage. Like
that's so funny. I never thought about that. That he
explains why he does what he does.
Wow, like he has a genuine fascination with like. Whoa, like you work at McDonald's? Like what's that like? I never like
that's why he's like you see like photos of him like driving like a bulldozer or whatever. It's like yes, like you can say it's a photo op, but like you can kind of see like when he's working McDonald's and like he kind of seems to actually be enjoying it.
That's kind of funny though. But that honestly makes sense like as a guy like growing up in America, like there is kind of like there's part of like being a dude and it's like it's kind of shameful like if you don't know how to fix your own car, like you have to ask another guy for help. So it kind of makes sense that even Trump like even at his age would like look at some of those skills that he never got to learn because of the life that he lived, and he just like super respects the guys that do that for a living, you know? Because like I do that. Like whenever, like I have an uncle that like was a mechanic for Volvo for 30 years, and like I'm in college, he never went to college, but I have like so much respect for him because he's a super intelligent guy that like does a trade that I can't do. And it's cool to see, like, yeah, that's something that I can appreciate, but that's also something that someone like Donald Trump can appreciate and really just recognize, like, the value that someone like that plays in society.
And it comes to no surprise why like these small like towns that used to have these like industries, like why they support Trump, like these blue collar workers, you know.
Yeah.
It makes sense because like the policies and what he pushes for and the way he interacts with them. It's just like, you know, by every metric you would say this is a billionaire. Like, what the heck does he know about me? And
Right.
then this is him. Sometimes it's almost hard to believe he's a real person. Sometimes like Trump
Yeah.
is. It's like his faith or whatever is very much questionable, but there's never a doubt that I'd be like, God kind of like created like this cartoonish figure. Because it's like there's so many things about him that's like, you almost like, is this for real actually? But it's kind of like amusing at the same time.
It's true.
Because like people like look outside like into America and be like, how the heck did this guy get in? Because in my country, someone like him would never happen. It's like, yeah, only in America, only this can happen at this time period. You know? It's just like,
you know, and that's
interesting.
that's
God
kind
has
of
this
funny.
funny sense of humor. Put it that way.
Yeah, but what's kind of funny is like he's the most caricaturized president probably of any president. I mean, well, that's not true. There's like a long American tradition of like making fun of the president, like, you know, the whole like Richard Nixon has a massive nose, like that whole thing.
SNL.
Yeah, but like if you think about Trump, like he doesn't really change anything that they make fun of him for. Like everyone makes fun of him for being orange and having a spray tan, but he still does it. Yeah, like he still
does have one of them.
He didn't, like, you know, he could have like after they did that, he could have fired his makeup guy and like got someone new, but he just like
No.
he still walks out on stage being orange.
Yeah. Well, probably he kind of doesn't like probably for the longest time he was just playing the game in Hollywood and all that.
Yeah.
And you kind of like, you know what, frick these people. Honestly, like they're so fake and all that. And I love the people that work for me more. You know, that I get to see constructing my building or whatever. So it's just kind of like interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, we talked about we talked about Christmas. We talked about we went back to Trump.
We always
Well, good.
end
Trump's
up
related
here.
to New York City. No
He
matter
is.
what. Like,
That's how we got there, was Trump Tower.
I mean, look, we watched Home Alone 2 on the way back, and of course Kevin stays at the Trump Plaza Hotel. Guess who he sees? Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Down the hall to the left.
Because the name is synonymous with New York City.
Like, everyone knew that. Heck, if you look at the old Monopoly New York City board game, guess what's the most expensive building?
Trump Tower's on there?
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
So it's just like, not the Statue of Liberty, not even the Empire State Building. If I'm correct, yes, it's Trump Tower.
We need to buy that and play that.
Oh, it's old.
Good. Well, we
But
should
yeah.
get it. It's probably worth a lot of money now.
No, yeah, but well, Josh, you have anything else to share, huh?
I don't know. I mean, we could talk about the biblical counseling conference that you missed.
Yeah, I had reasons. I was on ministry, but yes, I need to catch up on that.
It was actually really good. I think it was my favorite of all the weekends that we've done. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of good sessions in there. It's hard to like kind of like pick a favorite, but there's like a lot of just good nuggets of wisdom in there. There was a whole session. I think my favorite session of the entire conference, which is like 3 weekends over the course of a couple months. There was one on like guilt and shame, and just like biblical guilt and shame versus like non-biblical guilt and shame. And there was a few sessions like that, but there was a statement that was made, right? Like, if you believe the Bible, right, like you should be able to read it, and if you're guilty of sin, you read it, and if you're guilty, regardless of whether you feel like you're guilty or not. But also on the flip side of that, if you're not guilty of a specific sin and you read it, you're not guilty, like whether you feel like you are or not, because I think we get so mixed up, right? Like that's what the devil really wants, is he wants us to not feel guilty for the sins that we've actually committed. And then the sins that we haven't committed, where we've done nothing wrong, he wants us to question ourselves and wonder, like, did I do that right? You know, like he wants us to be completely at peace about the fact that, I don't know, we yelled at our family or whatever, but then he wants us to have anxiety over, like, I don't know, when I shared the gospel just then, did I do it right? You know? Anyway, just a little tidbit.
That's good, Josh. I that's a good. It's good to be able to just like, there's something relieving about having like the answers just straight from the Bible. It's not some like therapeutic, new age, you know, Freudian kind of like thinking. It's like, because you said it perfectly one time. Like all this like secular like psychology just boils down to making humans like animals, and it's like God tells us like when He made us, we were very good, you know.
Yeah.
And it's important that we remember that whatever like medication or whatever is being taken, just remember that's not the solution in and of itself. Like we're meant to come off that, and we're meant to also recognize like who we are, who our identity is if it's in Christ, then we ought to follow Him and ought to follow His commands and what He sees in us.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So yeah, I think that's good. I need to catch up on that conference, but yeah. Anyway, Josh, 45 minutes in.
Yeah.
Solid episode, if you ask me.
Good stuff.
It's the best. It's not like it.
It's huge. It was a huge episode. Our biggest one yet.
Next,
can't miss it. Can't miss it.
It's a hint. Trump's on next episode.
Yeah.
Donald Trump's on. Guys, stay tuned. But
One day.
All right. See you guys. Love you guys. Sometimes.
Bye.